everybody and welcome back to my channel. In this week's video I'm going to be showing you how you can make these super cute polymer clay Christmas decorations. So if you remember from a studio vlog I did a few weeks ago, I recently got the Arteza oven bake polymer clay, which has 42 different colors in it. So I'll be using polymer clay from this set and showing you what it's like to work with and any issues that I've had with this clay. I'll be showing you the different colors that I've used and how I sort of made the different Christmas shapes. I'll show you how I painted them using these really highly pigmented metallic markers. We'll be looking at how I use a Dremel and drilling holes into your polymer clay decorations, and finally the resining process. So there's quite a few different elements and stages to unpack with this one, so let's get started. So the first step, of course, is rolling out your clay and cutting out your decoration shapes. I like to roll my clay to about a 1/4 inch or 1/2 centimeter in thickness, just so they stay pretty strong. And these cutters I actually just got at a local supermarket. They're just simply Christmas cookie cutters, which should be pretty readily available in the supermarkets now if you fancied making this little DIY yourself. In terms of the clay I'll be using, as I mentioned before, I'll be using the Arteza polymer clay color set. And in this one, they actually have some metallic colors that I'll be testing out. I've never seen metallic pigmenting clay, so you'll see me using their gold and their copper, which kind of have like sort of a glittery undertone to it. And of course I'll be using classic Christmas colors later on, like dark green, and then I also kind of changed it up and tested out some of their pinks and blues as well. Overall, I thought this clay was super smooth, super nice to work with. The only thing I would say at this stage is some of the darker colors, especially the dark green, the pigment kind of really transferred onto my hands quite a bit. So if you were to use the dark one and then want to use a lighter color, you would definitely have to wash your hands in between, otherwise you'll just make everything green. But other than that, it was a really nice clay to work with. So I'll just let you sit back and relax and watch my process and the different shapes and colors that I've been using. And we will bake these according to the package instructions, and afterwards you'll see where I kind of had some problems with this clay. And before I get any comments, yes, that is a tin of shaving gel that I'm using as a roller. When I came here, I forgot to pack my little clay roller, so I've just been using anything that's available that's round. So yes, it's not sponsored by a particular shaving foam company, I just don't have a roller. But if anything, that just shows you don't need the most professional equipment and the best professional rollers to get good results. So here's my process on cutting out these decorations. as you can see, after I baked the clay, we ran into quite a few issues. So looking at the images here, you can sort of see that there was a lot of air bubbles and these white sort of specks, almost like crystallization. I'm not really sure what happened or how this happened in the oven. It seemed to be more of a problem with the lighter colors like the pinks and the blues. The only color that really didn't have this effect was the dark green of the Christmas trees that turned out totally fine. I don't know if this was because they were maybe slightly thicker than the other ones, but I mean, they were only marginally thicker. The metallic ones had really bad air bubbling, and so yeah, this was really disappointing, but we'll try and rectify this, paint it and resin it and see how it turns out. But before we paint or resin anything, we're going to break out the Dremel and start drilling holes into our decoration pieces. But before you drill anything, it is essential that you make sure that you have some protective eyewear in the form of safety glasses of any kind, because you never know when a drill bit might slip out or your pieces might just whirl off and hit you in the face. So please make sure to be safe when you're using a Dremel. That's why you wear safety glasses. So when using a Dremel, you're going to need some scrap piece of wood to put behind your piece so when the drill goes through, it doesn't ruin your mother's good kitchen table. And then while holding and pressing your piece firmly against the scrap piece of wood, just drill a hole straight down. I'm using a drill bit here that's 2.5 millimeters in width, which is perfect for the yarn that I'm going to be putting through these holes later on. So once you have finished drilling your holes and potentially breaking or destroying some of your decorations like I did, it's time to start painting. The pink ones were particularly bad and I really didn't like how they looked, so I actually painted over them with just a light pink acrylic paint. These were the only ones that I fully painted over because the likes of the gold and copper with the air bubbling, I knew that it was just more of a problem of an uneven surface, and when you put resin over things, that pretty much evens things out. So with the rest of them, I just got Posca paint pens and these metallic markers. I can't remember the exact brand, but I will mention them in the description down below for you to see if you can find those online. And as per usual, I love little cute smiley faces on everything, so I used a silver and gold pen across most of the decorations to create little cute faces, and then later you'll see me outlining a lot of them. These markers were great. They were super highly pigmented, really metallic and really shiny, so they looked excellent underneath the resin too. They were just, ooh, so Christmassy and beautiful. And finally, the last stage we're looking at is the resin process. So I like to coat a lot of my clay pins and other things that I make in UV resin. This process can be pretty annoying because it's quite fiddly, but some tips that I have for you to make this process a little bit easier is that I like to cut out little small pieces of paper and then attach my clay pin or decoration or whatever it is that I'm making with a piece of blue tack so that it's, off the paper by, about a centimeter or so. This makes it so much easier to apply resin and be able to spread it around the edges without it sticking to the paper. And you can also see when it's about to drip, so you can remove any drips as well. If you're just making these at home just for fun, you definitely don't have to do this step. You can just use any sort of clear varnish that you can buy in a craft shop. The UV resin I just particularly like because of course I sell these online and I just want a really high quality glassy shine, but you definitely don't have to do this step. If you do though, I recommend that you keep your windows open because when working with resin you want to remain in a well ventilated area. I'm also wearing a mask here as well. And once all the pieces are fully coated, I leave them outside in direct sunlight for 20 to 30 minutes until they're fully cured. And once the resin has cured, all that's left to do is attach some yarn or wool or string or whatever you have about the house. I used a little white and silver glittery wool for this, and I thought they turned out so lovely considering all the problems that I had with air bubbles and crystallization and whatever happened with that clay. I think they turned out so lovely after they'd been painted and resined. They came out super shiny and they look super cute on my Christmas tree. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing. I make videos every single week, or at least I certainly try to. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!